Hello and welcome to today's NinjaTrader Ecos event with Ephraim of Day Trade Like a Pro. My name is Tiffany and I am a platform representative at NinjaTrader. Before we start the webinar, I have a few housekeeping notes. At the bottom of the Zoom window, you'll see a chat icon. Clicking on it will open the chat window so you can ask questions during today's session. Also, please let me know if you can hear and see the presentation by typing Y into the chat window now. Thank you all for confirming that. Secondly, this webinar is presented by NinjaTrader LLC, which is the technology company responsible for developing and supporting the NinjaTrader trading software. Brokerage related questions should be directed to the NinjaTrader brokerage using the phone number or email on the screen. Lastly, if you are new to NinjaTrader, please make sure you sign up for a free live NinjaTrader demo with real-time marketed data. Our platform is always free for advanced charting, strategy backtesting, and trade simulation. You can get your free demo account by following the link on the screen. Before I turn the mic over to Ephraim, it's important to understand that futures for foreign currency and options trading contains substantial risk and is not suitable for every investor. It is possible to lose all or more than the initial investment. Risk capital is money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle. Only risk capital should be used for trading, and only those with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. For more information or for a copy of the full CFTC risk disclosure, please visit the following link. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the chat. Also, please remember that these training sessions are not a solicitation nor recommendation, but simply educational in nature. Thanks again for your joining us today. And without further ado, it is my pleasure to welcome to the NinjaTrader webinar room, Ephraim of Day Trade Like a Pro.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tiffany. So let me get my screen sharing here. And just, I want to check everyone can hear me. Let's see here. Okay, great. So here we go. And now we should have my screen being shared. There we go.
Looks great.
Okay, thank you. So first of all, let's just start off with Tiffany. It's been great having you, working with you. I know that David's worked with you a lot on getting everything set up, and really appreciate all the work that you've put in to make today happen. And we love NinjaTrader. I've been a long time customer of NinjaTrader. It's the only charting platform that I use. We have dozens of indicators that we've programmed for it. So really excited to be here again with NinjaTrader. We've had a couple of webinars that we've done with you guys, and they've been big successes all the way around. So looking forward to today. And for everybody who's here as an attendee, I want you to know, so my name's Ephraim, and I'm the founder and CEO of Day Trade Like a Pro. Those are just fancy titles that they give me to make me feel important. And then David is actually on the webinar with us. And David has a background in the hedge fund world, and actually he and I were friends, and then he came on, and really David's the glue that makes everything work. So he is the COO at Day Trade Like a Pro, and he's the guy. If anybody's been around here for a minute, and I know there's some people who are current clients of Day Trade Like a Pro, you know that David makes it all work. So he'll be responding to your questions. He may even jump in and say something if I miss something or misspeak on something. So we will, without any further ado, we'll just jump right into it here. So we've covered all the risk disclosures, and it really is important that you understand that there is risk. I think most of us hear something like this. It's like when you get on the airplane and they say, here's how you put on your mask in the case of an emergency. And you think, yeah, that isn't me. But in futures, you really better pay attention. I'd say that's true in any kind of trading. So a couple of things here to just start right out of the gate here. First of all, we know that your time is valuable. And so we're not here to try. Everything that we're going to present to you today is done with the intention of that you get something valuable for yourself as it relates to your trading. I've personally been trading for about 15 years, and I've worked with hundreds and hundreds of traders And I've seen a lot of the ups and the downs that traders go through. I've been through a lot of those. And so in our time here today, it's my intention to leave you with something that will actually make a difference in your trading. And so today you're going to really discover the hidden pitfalls of traders who fail and how to avoid them. And it wouldn't seem like these are that hard to find because a lot of traders fail. But what are actually the things that are causing them to fail that might be going unnoticed? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what it takes to really make yourself a consistent trader in the long run. And I'm going to give you some stats that aren't very exciting in a minute here. We're going to learn the 4 basic trade setups for entry and exit and how to use them in any market. So today's going to be about really the foundation of what you build a playbook around. Now, if you can imagine having, there's people from all walks of life and all different approaches to trading that are on the webinar today. But if you think about a sport, my son plays football. And if I think about not having a playbook, all of the plays, everything that we do, it's all in the playbook. We can call, dome left X logo, and we know what that means. We know exactly what it means. And everybody on the field knows what the position is that they're doing. And so we're going to work with you on starting today to get the foundation of those pieces into your trading so that you have a playbook. Maybe you have a great playbook. I think we can enhance it and add some things to it. And if you don't have a playbook, you're in the right place today for sure. And then we're going to talk about a systematic and repeatable approach to enter and exit trades. And then how do you adapt your trade management to different market conditions? So let's just, I'm going to get to, so why we're talking about these things here today, I'll get to that in a minute. But first, really thank you for being here. We do know there's other things you could be doing on a Thursday afternoon or whatever time it is where you are in the world. So thank you for being here. So as a thank you, we're going to give you a full 30-day free trial for prediction points. I'm going to talk a little bit about what prediction points are, but this is something that our current subscribers pay $297 a month for these. And we have subscribers who've been with us for a decade prior to before I took over Day Trade Like a Pro. So there's users who've been using this for a long time who love it. It's the foundation of everything that I do in my trading personally. And we're going to give you it free for 30 days and see if you think they're as great as we think they are. On top of that, I am going to personally lead 4 live 60-minute training sessions. So for 4 weeks, you'll have an opportunity where you can go sign up for prediction points, and that will put you in the training here. And 4 weeks in a row, I'm going to spend an hour with however many of us there are on the webinar. We'll have some one-on-one interactions. And we're going to be diving more in depth into the topics we're going to cover today and any questions that you have around that as well. And then what I think is probably one of the best hidden gems at Day Trade Like a Pro is we have a Discord server, and we have so many good traders who are active and so willing to just contribute and help other traders. And it's just such a great environment. When I founded Day Trade Like a Pro, I wanted to build something that I wished existed when I was learning how to trade. And so that's been our work, to try and build something that traders can use that I wish would have been there when I was doing this 15 years ago. So that's a huge value, and we're going to give you that for 30 days. Now, on top of that, we have 2 free training courses that are going to cover today's topics more in depth. One is a beginner course on how to trade what we call prediction points. And the second one is a more advanced course on prediction points. And so we're going to give you both of those. Now, what we're going to talk about with prediction points, you can go use on any market. So if you think you already have something that's working great for you, great. We're going to show you how to use what we're going to talk about today. Maybe you don't think prediction points are that great. That's okay. We're not here to try and sell anybody on that. So if you stay until the end, we're going to give you a $997 bonus. And why do we want you to stay until the end? Because we want you to actually get everything that there is here to get today. Okay, so that's what we're offering. And this is for real, a $997 bonus. There's actually people on the webinar right now who paid $997 for what we're going to give you. Just, you know, if you be here, we're going to have an offer for you for that, to pick up that bonus. But first, there's bad news. That's probably not the best way to start the webinar, but it's really the best thing that we could tell you. And the reality of day traders is this: 80% of all day traders quit within the first 2 years. Among all day traders, nearly 40% trade for only 1 month. And then within 3 years, only 13% continue to trade. And then after 5 years, only 7% remain. It's probably not because they're killing it, is it? I would imagine if someone was making a bunch of money, they probably wouldn't stop doing the thing. And then traders with up to 10 years of negative track record continue to trade. So the traders, even though they've received negative feedback regarding their ability to actually do this, they continue to do it. And we might have somebody on with us today who he's become a friend of mine over the years. But when I first met him, he told me he'd been trying to trade for about 20 years. He owned another successful business, and he lost over 7 figures trying to figure out how to trade. What's amazing is that over the last couple of years, he's actually turned his trading into something really profitable, consistent for him. And it finally just took, you know, getting 1 micro. And I think last I talked to him, he'd been scaling his way up from 1 micro to trading 5 full contracts and on the NASDAQ. And he was continuing to add to that. So I'm telling you that because if you look at statistics or you look at probability, the probability of making it as a trader is very bad. It's not really a bet that most people would want to take. So what sets apart the people, you know, only the 7% that remain, and not even showing, as you can see, even 10 years of negative track record, traders still stick around. What makes the difference? So of that 7%, maybe, you know, a small portion of those are actually consistently profitable even. So what makes the difference? And that's what we're going to look at a bit today here. So here's how some of the ways that you can put the odds in your favor. And I'm going to go through this relatively quickly in the interest of time, but you really ought to go back and rewatch this and really do the exercise. It would benefit you as a trader. So the first thing is you've got to be radically honest with yourself about the amount of hard work and commitment it's going to take to become consistently profitable. Now, I mean that you probably ought to read that about 9 times and really let it sink in. This is, in my opinion, one of the hardest things in the world that you can do to make money. So it's going to take hard work. It doesn't just happen. It doesn't happen overnight. There is no magic pill. There is no holy grail. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here. So it's going to take hard work. It's going to take commitment. Are you willing to put in the work that's required? So first, really coming to terms with this isn't a get rich quick scheme. This is something that's going to take work. Are you willing to put in the work? And if your answer to that is no, you should just quit right now. And if your answer is yes, then great. So now write down what successful traders do that you're not doing. So that could be from what kind of schedule they're following, what kind of a diet are they following? You know, when do they go to bed? When do they wake up? Are they journaling and tracking their trades? Do they have a mentor? You know, what is it that they're doing that makes a difference in their trading that maybe you're not doing? And start to speculate about that. And then what's really missing? Like, what are the skills that you need to develop as a trader? And write that down. Really go back and do this exercise and write down what are the skills that you need to develop. And then write down what's missing from your current approach to trading the markets. So is there anything that's missing that you need to incorporate? And it's really going to be what you find in this list prior to this. And then the last step is either quit if you're not willing to do what it takes, or make a commitment to doing what it takes to develop yourself into becoming a really consistently profitable trader. And it's a real commitment, but you really ought to just be honest with yourself about it. You're either willing to do what it takes or you're not. And if you're not, it's really okay. It would just make sense to not waste more of your time, you know? So having been around this for 15 years, I've seen a lot of people come and go. And I believe that if you'll do this exercise, this will make a difference for you. Real quick, I'm going to tell you one thing about David, which he doesn't know I'm going to tell you. So hopefully it's okay. But when David first came to me, he and I were friends. He had asked me, would you teach me how to trade? And I said, no. And I was really at a point of that people who, I thought everybody basically wants to learn how to trade because they think it's some sort of get rich quick thing. And David said, will you teach me how to trade? And I said, no. And then it was like 3 months later, he and I are talking and he says, I've been trading, I've been getting up at 5 o'clock and it's been 3 months. And I think I've lost like $5,000 so far. And I said, okay. And he said, will you teach me how to trade? And I said, no. And it was like 3 or 4 months later, he and I were having a conversation and he said, will you teach me how to trade? He'd lost a bit more money by that point. And I said, no. And he said, I literally every day I get up, I'm up at 5, I'm in front of my computer. And I said, so for 6 or 7 months, you've been getting up every day at 5 o'clock and spending 2 or 3 hours in front of your computer, losing money. And he said, yes. And I said, okay, I'll teach you. Because I figured if he hadn't quit by that point, he probably wasn't going to quit. And David, I think you're a pretty okay trader these days, aren't you? I mean, I'm understating it. It's come a long way since those days, hasn't it?
Long way. Absolutely.
So lots of fun. But the point is that he wasn't going to quit. I knew he wasn't going to quit. If he was going to quit, he would have already done it. So, all right, let's talk about what's missing. So we've seen a lot of traders come and go. We did a survey recently, actually, with a few thousand traders and also just observing behavior. And really the big thing that we have noticed is that traders say their biggest challenge is they want consistency. So what's consistency? It means that you have a reliable way to enter and exit trades. And then how do you manage those trades? That's consistency. You have a way that you can get in and get out, and somewhere in between that process, you can make money, maybe more times than not, or at a minimum, you make more than you're losing. And that's consistency. But if you don't know where to get in and out, and you don't have a way to manage those or how to get in and out, you won't have consistency. It's not going to happen. So let's talk about the solution. One thing I would have you understand about, if you notice, we're not really, I know there's some vendors who don't even trade. And that's okay. There's some really great products and services and indicators and things that are out there in the market that are developed by people who are terrible traders. I know some of them, but their products or their services are fantastic, but they can't do it for themselves. I was explaining to my kids what a caddy does in golf. And it's like the caddy can tell the golfer everything to do. They just can't do it. And there are some companies out there like that. We're real traders. Okay. So David trades, I trade every day. I'm pretty sure David trades every day. And we have dozens of traders. All of our coaches trade every day. So we're all real traders. This is what we do. Okay. We're going to show you 4 simple setups that we've used, that we've created a lot of different playbooks, working with a lot of different traders in our own trading. And we're going to show you these 4 simple setups that you can start to use in your own trading playbook. And then I told you that at the end of the webinar, you'll have an opportunity to sign up for 2 more in-depth trainings that are going to cover what I'm going to go through really quickly here and then jump over to the charts. Okay. So basically, we're going to take these 4 setups. It's the foundation of every successful trading plan we've ever built. And it's the foundation of all the trades that we do. So don't let the simplicity fool you. If you are not doing what you want to be doing in your trading right now, and you have a thought like, oh, maybe this is, I already know what I'm doing here, or I don't need this. You know, simplicity is absolutely key. So if maybe you're overcomplicating things, it's quite possible. Okay, let me say something about prediction points. So in 2007, we created this proprietary method for forecasting future price movement and then identifying support and resistance in the market. We call them prediction points. If I was listening to somebody saying what I was saying, I would think, okay, one of like, a million different products out there like that. I'm just biased to prediction points. So basically how this came about, I didn't create prediction points, but the original inventor of prediction points said, hey, I'm retiring, I'm going to sell this. And there were some hedge funds that were in the mix. And he said, but I'd rather really not sell it to them. And so I paid him a whole bunch of money and bought all of the IP. And now Day Trade Like a Pro, we own everything for prediction points. So we've, I think, enhanced them and made them better. But I literally did that because one, I didn't want the hedge fund to win on this. And this is actually a bank, but anyway, and two, I was like, I don't know how to trade without these. Now I think I've evolved a bit since then, but in my trading, but I mean, really, I still wouldn't want to trade without these. And I think you'll see why in a minute here. So we're going to give you examples and they're based on prediction points, which you can try for free at the end of the webinar and just see if they're as good as we say they are. But you could take what we're going to show you here and you can apply it to all sorts of different methods. You can trade moving averages or supply and demand or fibs or anything else that you want. Wherever you can identify a level that you could buy or sell against, we're going to show you that. And don't let the simplicity fool you, because this has been at the heart of a lot of successful strategies. Okay. So this is an L1. That's what we call it, just for making it really simple when we're entering our in our journals and tracking our trades. So all we have is we have the red arrow that represents price coming down to a level. And then we want to enter, depending on the market and what we're trading, 1 to 4 ticks above the prediction point. And then assuming that trade works, we have, generally we have an area where we're going to trade that to. We know our target. So that's an L1. Price comes down, we're placing a limit order generally above the price. And there's nuances to this, which we get into in the training, but I don't have time for that all today. So we'll have to go, we'll go over that in the training when you go sign up there. Okay, let's see. I am not getting this to slide to the next. Doesn't want to go to the next slide. There we go. So there's an S1. So that's when we're selling against a prediction point when price trades up to it. Same idea for entering. Okay. And I promise you, I'm just giving you the brief part here. We're going to look at some charts in a minute. Okay. So this is a breakout one. So what we have is we have a failed S1. I think I can, no, not sure I can. Okay, so over here we have an S1, it fails, and then it turns into a breakout one. So it's the same thing as an L1, except it's after a failed S1. And then the next trade would be a breakdown one, BD1. And this is, we're selling right here. We have an L1, it fails. So this trade doesn't work. And then we are selling against the level. And you'll see why this works so well with prediction points. But we're selling against the level for a move down to a lower target. Those are the 4 trades. Now we're going to go look at some things together. But that'll give you a, that's a a place to start here. So we should have my chart up. Is that what we're looking at right now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so this is a NASDAQ chart, and let me just show you what we're looking at. We have the blue line right here. This is what we call a CP. That stands for a critical price. And you'll see we have another, let me bring this back here just a little bit. You'll see we have another CP right here towards the bottom. That's the critical price. Now, all the white levels that you see in between here, those are what we call KPs, or a key price. And that's really just so that when we're talking about it or we're typing about it in Discord, that we don't have to type out critical price or key price. We just do KP or CP, much easier. Okay. So then what basically the foundation of this is that the market is going, this is today, by the way, on the NASDAQ, and I can show you these prices were posted yesterday, probably before the Globex session started. The idea is really this, that the market's going to trade from blue line to blue line. That's basically in a nutshell, that's the theory of prediction points. So the market's going to go from this blue line up to that blue line. And then these KPs, these white lines that we see in between here, these are going to be our sort of an interim price. So the market might pause there for a little bit, but ultimately, if we're above this blue line, we would expect the market to go up to that blue line. That's the foundation of it. Okay. So let me talk about here. You can see these prices. First of all, before I owned prediction points, I thought I was clever enough that I was going to figure out how they worked. I could have had all the resources in the world and 100 quants, and I wouldn't have figured it out. So you're welcome to try, but doesn't look promising from my experience. So let me tell you before you start going, oh, those are like pivot points or Fibonacci or whatever. No, they're not. They're not anything like any of that. I mean, you might think they have some similarities, but look at the gap from here. Now look at where the next blue line is. Oh, there's nothing today. So it's way, way up there. Now that might be different tomorrow. Okay. So that alone makes me very bullish in the big picture, but we'll see what changes tomorrow. Anyway, just to give you an idea for today, anyone coming in here, if you look at Globex, opened here, came above the CP, held the CP at, let's call it 14,790. And really, we're looking for a move up to here. So that's 15,035. It's a monster move on the NASDAQ. How did we know? Well, that's where the next CP is. So that's what we're looking for. We don't care so much about it being to the tick, although that happens frequently, but that's not as important to us. Okay, so let's talk about how there's a gap. This is one of the things to understand. So notice how these two are really close together. And then notice how these two, there's a bit more space between here. And then not a ton of space here. And then notice right here, we have a bunch of prices kind of all clustered here together. So in general, we expect that the market's going to move between prediction points. So blue line to blue line, but overall, it's going to trade around these levels. And if it breaks above a level and there's a gap like here, we would expect that they would fill the gap up to this next level. So this would be a gap in prices. Now we can also look at it like this. There's a blue line here and a blue line here. Look at the big gap that there is up to there. So we'd expect that they're going to come up here and fill this level. Okay. And then there's right here, this is a cluster of prices. So what does that signify? That it's quite possible that around this area, it doesn't mean it's going to be exactly inside of this, but around this area, I would at a very minimum look for some consolidation. And what you could see is that little bit of a probe up above right here. And then this was this morning. I think we had good jobs numbers. I don't pay attention to news, but I think that's what this little spike was right there. And then what happened, pulled right back to the lower part of this cluster. And then we would expect that they'll come right out of here and move right up into this level. So that's 966 from 895. So like 70 points on the NASDAQ from here up to this move right there. And then notice how there's 4 of these right here, but then there's only 2 of them right here. Anybody who's been trading prediction points, and I know there's a number of you here, you would be looking for, it's very possible we see some consolidation in here. And so what do we notice? We have a move up into here. It consolidates in between these, pulls right back to here, consolidates in between here, and eventually we get a move up here a little bit later in the morning. And then we've just kind of run out of time here today. It's highly likely that we'll, from the prediction point methodology, that we'll go fill all of those. So I think let me just check and make sure. So I think I've covered, I mean, guys, I know this might be like drinking from a fire hydrant. So we're going to cover this all in depth in the training, but I want to give you just, a little bit of a taste of it here today. So this is the S&P 500. Let me make this chart a bit bigger so you can see this looks a bit different as far as where or how the prices are. And let me show you here. So what happened at the open? So we're above these CPs. Notice that. And notice how the market traded up here to the CPs, and it just sort of between here and here, these CPs, it's kind of just slowly moving around here, a little bit of consolidation. And then look what happens at the open. We open, this is 43.90. The pullback at the open was 43.90 to the tick. And then what are we looking for? A target up here. Yes, this is a little bit of an interim, and you can see we had 06 quarter and the pullback was 06 half. So 1 tick in front of that. That's why we said 1 to 4 ticks. And you can really just pay attention. If you look at something, let me show you one other thing I want to show you here with this. If you look at this right here, we have 14 quarter and the high is 14. Right here, that's 1 tick off, okay? And right here, we have the low is 06 half, but the price is 06 quarter. And that's 1 tick off. So missed here by a tick, missed there by a tick. So there is a pattern to these things. I mean, it does tend to go that way a bit. So that's something that we definitely pay attention to. We'd notice, is the market coming over here? I think probably missed by a tick right there. So on this move up here, missed it by a tick. Missed by a little bit more right here, but that's kind of to be expected with these two close together. So whenever there's 2 or more prediction points that are close together, we have traders who just split the difference of these and will trade it off the middle of these. So that's probably something like that. So something like that, okay? So that's pretty common. And then again, likely we just sort of ran out of time as far as today goes, because we have some more prediction points up there that we'd expect to go get hit. Unless we had any targets up there, which I'm not entirely sure about because those are on my other chart. So that is, David, is there anything that so first of all, how am I doing on time? And I think I probably
good on
need to,
time.
okay.
What I think would be really helpful would be highlighting a couple of the trade examples. So an L1
right.
or a BO1, BD1 on these charts relative to the prediction points.
Great. So let's just go back here and look then. So this would be the most, let me walk you through my process. So above here, so if we just break this down into the most simple form, we're above the CP. So this purple line is the beginning of Globex. And we're above this blue line. So I'm looking for a move up to here. Now, if you wanted to short, these prices are out. I think almost every day we post these before the open of Globex. I mean, that's probably 80+% of the time. They're always done before I go to bed. Okay, so there's a slight manual part to it. We've automated a ton of it. There's a slight manual part to it still. And so these are, always done before it gets real late. So these were probably out before the Globex opened or really close to then. And you can see, by the way, look at what we have right here. So we have 43.72 And the high right here is 4371.5. So this initial push right here missed that by, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger. Missed that by 2 ticks right there, but then came up and tagged it to the tick. So these lines are here. We didn't go back and change them. Okay, the lines are already there. And then let me just see if I can draw this in here. There's so many things I could show you, but so this is a little secret that we use, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds with this, but 74 quarter or half, that would be your midpoint right there. Okay, I'm going to get rid of that. That's a little secret that we have. I'm giving away all the good stuff. So if you have a gap like this in prediction points, you can just draw this in. So see why I said one of our coaches goes by Omega Knight in the Discord channel. He really, I think the majority of his trading is off of these midpoints. So you can see the market moved up here. Where does it pull back to? It pulls back to 50% between these 2 prediction points. I just threw a fib in there between these 2. To the tick, it comes back to there, and then it ends up taking off and breaking up out there. Okay, so that's a thing that, so that would be an example of, you could take an L1 off of that midpoint, which, I mean, I think that is pretty much how Omega Knight has made most of his money trading, is buying and selling off the midpoints on an example like that. But that's the middle of the night.
That example too, that's a great example of an S1. Right when it comes up there, you enter a point in front of the prediction points, and you're watching it, and if it doesn't break past that 50% level, you're looking at bullish again. So you probably wanted to get out, or at least get out of that trade at break even, and then you're waiting for the break above that for a BO1 after that, about 20 at 2300 there.
Yeah, so let me just draw this in. This is the midpoint, just so everyone's following this. This is the midpoint here and here. This is the middle of those. So that's 50% of these. We're just splitting it in half. And what David's saying is that we could enter, you know, let's say here we're entering at 71. So you're entering a point in front of that price over here. And you can see they've been front running these. They're getting, it's not quite getting down to the level right there. So I'd expect a little bit of that to continue. I just kind of go with whatever the market's telling me. Here it starts running off the tick. Okay, let's see if that can keep up. It's a little short right there. So I'm expecting a day like today. I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, okay, they're kind of missing. So this trade right here, you can have a limit order just sitting right here. And that would fill right there. And then it's from 71, it came down to 65. So that's up to you. Is 6 points enough? For me, that's enough to take some initial profit and then see if I can hold some for a bigger move. But if that didn't work, then I can, you know, at a minimum, for me personally, I'm going to move my stop to break even. And the market ends up coming back up here and you get stopped out. So this is an S1. We come right up here. That's an S1 trade. And then no follow through below the 50% level. It did move 6 points. And, you know, making 6 points a day on the S&P isn't a bad living. But, and this is obviously early in Globex. So we'll go look at an example in that happened during the day. So there's that level. And then it doesn't get below the 50% level, comes back. If you have runners on, they get stopped out at break even. And then I like the first go around. So this is a little bit of, I guess, an odds enhancer. While it's definitely possible that you could use a level, especially something like we see here, it comes a little short and then it goes up and hits it to the tick. But you notice there's no real follow through here. And so I wouldn't personally, the majority of the time, I would not sell, I would not enter another S1. I'd only do the S1 on the first test. Unless I felt like the level was just so important that it was worth selling it again. Or if I was able to take some of my risk off and I could put this trade on and not have any risk on basically overall on the trade, then I might be able to make an argument for that. But this is taking way too long. No follow through for any lower. So I only would take it the first time. So this is technically a failed S1, but it's the third attempt at the S1. And then this would be about, well, if you are looking, ultimately, we're looking for a move up to here. So this would be, you could short this if you wanted, but maybe at best you're looking for a pullback, because ultimately we're looking for a move up into here at least. So when that doesn't work, this is we can buy here. It comes up, comes back down. We can buy here. What's that? 72. It went 2 points through this level. So in Globex, you know, that's not really the end of the world in the way I look at things. So this would be a valid S1 right here. So you enter here, and just for kicks and giggles, let's take a peek and see what happens if we throw the fib on there. So let's just mark the 50% level, and I'll erase the fib. Okay, so that's the 50% level. So notice the break above the prediction point basically just probed the 50% level. And then it broke the 50% level, came back and tested it, came up to the CP, back to the 50% level. So this is what I said, like you can do this on prediction points, but you do it on anything. So this is not technically a prediction point, although it is derived from using prediction points. This is a valid breakout one. So a BO1, this would be a valid trade. This would be a valid S1. This would be a valid breakout one. So this is a sort of a small range. If you took the S1, I said I wouldn't take it the second time, especially, you know, if you're trading against, you got two of these together, I wouldn't take it a second time. So you get a break above here. This is a failed S1. And then this is a breakout one again, right here. And that ends up making a pretty nice move. So what happens, this would technically be an S1, not a trade I would take. And we go into that more in the course, and I think understanding more of that, but this is holding. These are sort of clustered together. I'm looking for a move up into here minimum. So what happens? The market pulls back. Any guesses what that is? This is a failed S1. That's a breakout, a breakout one, BO1. You can enter, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 ticks in front of that. Here's my rule for entry. If it works, does it matter? And if it doesn't work, does it matter? So yeah, if you're adjusting your entries 5, 6, 7 points, yeah, it's going to matter. But at the end of the year, I highly doubt that it's going to be the difference of, well, if I would have entered at 2 ticks instead of 3 ticks, I don't think that's going to be the difference maker at the end of the year. So I don't get too hung up on that. If it works, does it matter? No. Okay, great. Then I'll enter 2 ticks or 4 ticks in front. It doesn't really matter. And then I'm looking for a move up into here. So what you might do if you're a bit advanced, or once you kind of start to get your, you know, your legs under you as you are learning this, is you might take, let's say you put on a 3 lot down here. You might take 2 of them off right here because you don't know if this is going to reverse and come around, but ultimately we're looking for that move up to there. And so we don't know if that's going to reverse here and come back down to here, or what's going to happen, or come down into here. This is a little, to me, this looks like a little demand area. So I'm, you know, I have an eye on that. But what happens is that it breaks above here, comes right back. If you enter a couple of ticks above here, you're filled, and you can put, really, I think it's a professional strategy is if you put 3 on here, and if it's a pro, then you're probably putting 30 on at a minimum. But if you put 3 on here, you can cover 2 right here. And then it breaks and you go, great, I can take a breakout 1 long, which is also what this trade was. And there's not a ton of room, but there's 06 up to 14. Let's just call it 14. And so there's 8 points. That's enough room for me to put on some more risk. If that doesn't work, I'm probably going to try it here in that, whatever that midpoint was. If I, oh, not that one, wrong hotkey. So that one. So this is, let me just throw that midpoint in there so you can see it. I see why Jaime likes these. These are pretty nifty. So I have some other things that I do that we'll talk about in a little bit, but this is very popular among prediction point users. So you can see the initial move was up here to the midpoint of these 2 prediction points. And then So I'm definitely, if this doesn't work, then I want to do another, basically a second breakout one over, off of this level. I would probably call this a breakout one. And then how I would track my stats would be if the market were to pull down into this level again, and I got long here, then I would call that an L1. I'd call this my breakout one, and I'd call this my L1 over here. So that's how I'd be looking at that. So there's a short opportunity. It goes from 14 down to 07. Actually, we did this in the live trade signals. So we got our first target and then it broke even. So live trade signals is, I think I'll say something about it here at the end, but it's basically, we post signals in real time and you can follow those. We try to post them a lot of times. Sometimes they're hours in advance, but we always give you a bit of a heads up on different opportunities. So this was a live trade signals trade. Maybe it did. Yeah, it did fill the first target, I think. Yeah, that one filled the first target. And then that was that. And then the rest broke even. We moved the stop to break even. So a little bit of a unique day because, so what do you have? You can try it short there. It doesn't work the first time. I wouldn't try it a second time. And then eventually I just want to be buying here. So if you buy here or wherever you buy in here, or it comes back and tests, if you can see that, comes back and tests to the tick. So I'd say that's probably what I would call my breakout one trade. I mean, it's easy to say after the fact, I know, but I mean, if I took these and whatever happened, it wasn't like this moved a lot. It was 2.25 points. So nothing crazy here. And I know they can come back down here a bit still. So I'm not too nervous about that. Yep.
I want to be responsible for the time, and I want to make sure that we have time for people to ask questions.
Great.
And I'm getting a lot of messages for people that want to learn how to do the sign up for the trial. So
great.
I know we've covered a lot, but we'll be able to go into these trades and the levels in much more detail through the 4 live trainings that we're doing and the additional training that you're going to get.
For sure. So I want to show you. So great. Thank you. And you know me, I would just talk for like 10 hours if nobody told me to stop. So I want to show you one thing here that I learned from a guy who was a sovereign wealth trader. So he traded money for countries. So you see there's this prediction point right here. And you see this is basically this initial probe up above here. I just measured that. That's what this represents. And if I bring that back down on the other side of the CP, you see the low right there is to the tick. And I'm guessing, just to my untrained eye, that looks like the midpoint. It is. So that is also the 50% level, and it's how far it probed above here. So if I'm looking to enter a trade, I'm thinking, how far did it probe above? How far can it probe below? The same amount. And so it does to the tick. This happens all the time. And we see this probe above, probe below, and then take off. So really nothing new here with any of that. So, okay, so let's do this. Let me bring back up I love this feature in PowerPoint called We Don't Save Your Spot. So let me get caught back up to where we were. And I think, and then we'll just show you how you can go get signed up for the free trial and also all the trainings that we're offering. So let me get to that part. These are my notes of what to talk to you about. Okay. So prediction points are available for the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, gold, crude oil, and the Dow. Okay. And they also work on the micros of those same markets because it's practically the same pricing. And then prediction points could be used as a standalone strategy, which you can probably see as I went through some examples, or you could use it to enhance an already existing strategy. And David, you'd probably say, would you think that it's about 50-50 among prediction point users? I was thinking about it and I thought it's probably about 50-50. Half of them only use prediction points and half of them had something they were doing and they kind of,
And they enhanced it with prediction
yeah,
points. Yeah, I'd say
I think it's
that's about right.
50-50.
Yeah.
I've never done a survey, but that's my guess. So if you have questions, you can email us support@daytradelikeapro.com, just at the bottom there, and we'll be happy to get back with you. Okay, so let's talk to you about what we want to do. We really, again, what I told you, we want to build a community of traders. All right, so that's what we've been up to, and we want to see if we're a good fit for you, if you're a good fit for us. So 30 days, unlimited access to prediction points for all the markets we do them for. You're going to get all the training that we talked about, detailed training on the trade strategies, and then access to our members only chat room, which is in the Discord channel. And then I'm going to do 4 live sessions with you for an hour each, where we're going to go over some of what I got into here in the later part of the webinar. We're going to go into depth on that. And I promise if you come to those, I'll make your brain hurt by the end. Okay. In the best way possible. And then we have an opportunity for you. Now, this is completely up to you, but we have an opportunity for you to try the live trade signals for $147. And the first 20 people who do the live trade signals, you'll get that for a month with your prediction point subscription. For the first 20 people who do that, we're going to give you a course that I just led. What was it? 2 or 3 months ago, we wrapped up a course where I basically taught everything that I know about prediction points, which I've never taught this. And we taught you some of the most insane ways to predict what's going to happen in the market that you can use day in and day out. And we legitimately had a dozen or more people that were in the course that paid $9.97 for it. And we're going to give it to you for free. They're probably wishing they would have waited for this offer. So, we're going to give it to you for free for trying out the live trade signals. And we're doing that because we think it will make a difference for you in the way that you trade prediction points and how you approach it. So Dave, I think we can put the link here. You can go sign up. So again, live trade signals, $147 for 30 days. If you don't like it, that's fine. Cancel it. We publish all of our results on the website. You're welcome to go see that. I think I'm allowed to say that. And if you don't like it, cancel it. That's fine. It's not going to hurt our feelings. But it's absolute. You could go buy the course, which is for sale on our website. It's $9.97. You're welcome to do that if you don't want to do the live trade signals trial. But I would just say do the live trade signals trial. Let us give you the course for free. And, come check it out and see what it's all about. So I think that's what I've got. And I probably missed about 90 things, but come spend the next 30 days with us. If you're not sick of listening to me talk already, I'll spend 4 more hours with you, plus all the other training. We've tried to do everything we can. And by the way, if you don't want to buy anything, that's okay too. Don't sign up for the live trade signals and get the free course for $1,000. Just go get prediction points. And you're going to get everything that we talked about, except for the $1,000 course and live trade signals. So you can still just go do that. If you don't want to spend any money, that's fine. We're not doing this to get rich. That wasn't our intention. So we want to find traders who are serious about their trading. Okay, so that's
I want to add regarding that course. I know everyone who took that course uses the strategy identified in that course to identify their entries and their targets, and have been, they've been very successful with that. So
it is absolutely, it's quite literally the only thing I use in my trading. So there's prediction points, and then there's this method that I came up with around prediction points, which I teach in the course. And I don't know why it works, but it is uncanny how accurate it is for predicting. How many times this week have we had the high and the low to the tick? It's just unbelievable. So it is what I do in my own trading every single day. And it's what I use for my own trading. We also have a premium offer called MAP. That's a 5-figure offering. And it's what I do in MAP. I basically distill everything into what we're teaching in that course. So we never had taught anything like that, but I said, I want to teach everything I know about this. And that's what we did. And I think it's worth 10 times the $997. And I think a lot of traders
I
would
had
agree.
to twist your arm pretty hard to put this course as part of this
Yeah.
offer. I know you didn't want to do it, but I said this is what's going to make the difference for people really learning prediction.
Yeah, that is literally how it went. I said, well, people paid $1,000 for it. And David said, yeah, but for people to really get what there is to get with prediction points, they need the course. And so we said, okay, great, let's do it. So, yeah, I mean, I would invite you to do it. I can't think of a better way to spend $147 and the kind of value that you're going to get out of it. I think it'll make a big difference for you. So you can go to the link. It's down below here. You're welcome to type that in if you like typing, but I think we have it posted here in the chat as well. So I think, what do we have? 5 minutes? That's, I think I'm in record time. So do we want to answer some questions, David?
One question came up about, do we do live trade signals for NQ? It's literally in the works right now. We actually have a trader that we're doing a beta. We've been doing a beta version this week, and he's chomping at the bit to get it live. So stay tuned on that one. But right now, we focus on the ES for live trade signals.
And I think the thing that's important to recognize about that is that if we're going to offer something, it's quite literally something that we would use in our own trading. So until we know that we can predictably and consistently produce results on the NASDAQ, we're not offering it. And, I think we have a pretty decent track record. I don't know anybody who has a better track record that's publishing results like we are for the live trade signals for the S&P. But it is coming for the NASDAQ at some point.
Okay, well, I think that's a wrap. Any questions that anyone has, you can send an email to support@daytradelikeapro.com. And we're looking to wrap up now, so our time is up. But thank you, Ephraim. Thank you for everyone's time, and look forward to seeing you in the Discord room.
Yeah, and really appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for your time, your attention. And again, a big thanks to Tiffany and a big thanks to NinjaTrader, and really grateful to be here today. So thanks again. We look forward to doing it again in the future, hopefully. And yeah, Tiffany, thanks for everything. Great event. I personally had a great time.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ephraim, also for taking the time to share with us today. Everyone in attendance will receive an on-demand recording of today's event, so just keep an eye open for that email over the next day or two. If you enjoyed today's session, we hope you'll join us for future webinars. We would like to remind you the information provided in this was of Day Trade Like a Pro and not of NinjaTrader. All information was for educational purposes and should not be construed as trading advice. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope to see you in future webinars. Happy trading from all of us in the NinjaTrader ecosystem. And again, thank you so much, Ephraim.
Thank you.
And David, thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, everyone.